State lawmakers are considering bills at the Capitol that look to address Minnesota's housing shortage, but those bills would also make sweeping changes to city zoning codes. That has some local mayors feeling concerned. Those so-called missing middle housing bills require cities to allow mid-sized housing like duplexes and triplexes on single-family lots. They also require cities to allow apartments in commercial zoning districts. Supporters say the bills help create new affordable housing.
Zoning reform that allows communities to build modern housing has untold benefits, including increasing affordability, making communities more livable, and having enormous positive environmental effects.
Officials in Plymouth and Maple Grove say they're concerned the bills would strip away local control over housing and would put a strain on infrastructure.
And I am also concerned about the inability of cities to properly address safety concerns, necessary sewage, water concerns. It doesn't seem to take into account the need that cities have to properly design their city.
So there's no control, and then there's no ability for people to object to anything. If a developer wants to buy a property and put a 6-unit building on there, there's not the voice to say no to it.
Plymouth Mayor Jeff Washee told CCX he supports affordable housing, but the legislature should work with cities to develop solutions. This week marks a new era for the Plymouth City Council as it welcomes in 2 new members.
I solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and of the state of Minnesota.
That is the new Ward 3 Council member Catherine Chesnick taking her oath of office during Tuesday night's council meeting. Right before that, Kimberly Nelson took her oath of office to serve as the new Ward 1 council member. The council solicited applications for the 2 seats after Elise McGregor and Jim Davis resigned last month. Both terms expire on January 6, 2025. A Minneapolis man has pleaded guilty to setting another man on fire in Brooklyn Center. 60-year-old Charles Hall was charged with assault in December 2022. According to the criminal complaint, Brooklyn Center officers found a man with severe burns in the 7000 block of Perry Avenue North. Hall and the victim got into a fight earlier that day. Hall later filled up a cup with gasoline, threw it on the victim, and lit him on fire. The victim was hospitalized and placed in a medically induced coma. Hall faces a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison. His sentencing is scheduled for May 28th. A man is in custody after a shooting at the Brooklyn Center Transit Center on Tuesday. Officers from Metro Transit and the Brooklyn Center Police Department responded to a shots fired call around 12:30 Tuesday afternoon. Investigators say a single round was fired, but nobody was hit. An adult male ran from the scene before officers arrived. Police arrested him a short time later and recovered a handgun. Preliminary findings suggest an altercation between 2 people led to the shooting. The alleged shooter is currently held at the Hennepin County Jail awaiting charges. Minnesota's workforce is aging. The Minnesota Department of Employment and Economic Development data shows that the number of workers over 65 in the state has increased over the past few years. One company's Plymouth-based branch is tapping into that workforce by offering a unique job where seniors help each other.
Good morning.
Every morning, Rachel Ackland is greeted by her in-home care team.
You want to have a seat?
It seems like the possibilities in life remain more open.
She's got a team of 2 whose ages aren't too far from her own.
I'm 69.
I'm 73.
Jenny Duffy and Mark Taffel are a part of Seniors Helping Seniors. It's a Plymouth-based company that provides in-home care.
Really developed more of a friendship than a working client caregiver thing. It's much more.
Their experience makes I think connecting easier.
As Rachel got older, she knew she wanted to age independently. That's when she found Seniors Helping Seniors.
And that has worked out very well for me.
Owner Kim Nermer says the company just hires fellow senior citizens for in-home care. She says that makes their company different, and in many ways, better.
It's really opened my eyes to the value they can bring in terms of life experiences, their dedication, their commitment.
So let's get your breakfast together.
They're doing this because they want to do this, and that's different than feeling like you need to have a job.
Jenny and Mark split their responsibilities checking on Rachel.
I've been just very, we could say, very blessed. I have two, really wonderful seniors who come and they're very different, but it's great. That's great. Kind of counters my tendency to be sometimes depressed.
But the caregivers say it's even more special for them.
I would like to say I get a lot more out of it than I believe they do. I do.
It adds structure and meaning to my life to be doing this work.
A program at the Hennepin Healthcare Clinic in Brooklyn Park is helping patients walk away with more than a prescription and advice from their doctor.
I have never seen a patient say no to food bags. They're always happy to accept it, and many of our families actually need it.
The Hennepin Healthcare Clinic in Brooklyn Park has partnered with Second Harvest Heartland to offer nutritionally balanced bags of food for any patient who needs them. Each bag weighs about 4 pounds and provides enough food for a few meals. Some of the food bags even contain culturally specific items to help serve the clinic's immigrant patients.
So that itself makes people to accept it when you say, I have this kind of food bag, and it includes all this, food that they are familiar with, and that makes them to accept it and say yes to the food bags.
The food bag program is funded through donations. If you'd like to help, we'll have a link at ccxmedia.org.
The weather early this week certainly wasn't conducive to getting outside to play a spring sport, but a few teams are scheduled to play games next week, including Maple Grove softball.
Maple Grove softball has set a high standard for itself for many years now.
Swing and a miss.
The Crimson are coming off a 2023 season that saw a third-place finish at state and a 23-3 overall record. We caught up with the 2024 Crimson late last week before spring break. The players are confident this will be a very strong team again.
We have a lot of returning talent and a lot of experience, so it should be a great year. Because we have so much experience, we have a lot of girls who know that they can hit the ball, and we have a lot of depth, unlike other teams, so our 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th hitter are all good.
We have a really big returning number for our field, a lot of veterans, so I'm excited to see our lineup develop. We only graduated 2, but it'll be good to see new faces in our lineup and girls getting more confident as they get older.
Only 2 regulars graduated from last year, left fielder Faith Cry and All-State pitcher Maddie Wilm. Everyone else returns, and this should be a team that can hit.
All these kids, played, 27, 28 games of varsity last year. They all play on high-level club teams. Alyssa Warrants is going Division I already to South Dakota State. So, I think the kids just feel a lot more comfortable, and I think we're going to have some good at-bats.
With the graduation of Wilm, who pitched virtually every inning last year, this season will be different, more like a pitching by committee approach.
I think it's going to look a lot more like what we do in club ball and what they do in college ball. I think, we're going to end up with, Kelsey Potsky, we have Jordan Brewston, we have some other young pitchers in there that are, that do it well. We just might have to piece it together.
We've had a few scrimmages and they've all been doing great. We're not going to be riding one picture like we did last year with Maddie, but we're going to have a few girls and they're all kind of different, which is really good.
Section 5-4A should be strong again this year, with Maple Grove likely battling playoff rival Centennial, plus Champlin Park and section newcomer Rogers in the postseason. With the talent back here, the goal for the Crimson is pretty simple.
It's got to be working through sections and then making it back to Mankato for state.
The Wayzata baseball team is coming off a strong season as they prepare for the 2024 campaign. Here's Jay Wilcox with a preview.
They're getting to work in the Wayzata baseball program. The early sessions indoors are showing promise for a good season.
First impression of the teams is a great vibe. Yesterday was our first practice, and I think we had a great community experience, and everyone got after it and had a great time yesterday.
Usually you're going in, and the first couple practices are a little shaky, and everybody's looking really good right now. So I'm just really happy we're all showing up healthy, and we're feeling good through the first couple practices.
The Trojans are coming off a strong 18-7 season in which they won the Rugged Lake Conference, but fell one win short of the state tournament when Edina swept them in a doubleheader for the Section 6-4A title. It was mostly positive things to build from.
We really accomplished a lot of the things we wanted to, and we got to the place we wanted to be in. It just was the wrong day to go cold, and we lost to a good team twice. And so, we talked about it, but we also said it's not something to put a lot of pressure on ourselves about. And so, we intend to work hard and get right back to that same spot, and hopefully we'll be able to have a different outcome.
That last game is still gnaws at us a little bit, but I feel like if anything, it's motivating us to work harder this year and not let it happen again.
While Wayzata did graduate some key cogs, they also returned some important pieces. Dominant right-handed pitcher Riley Leatherman and lefty pitcher first baseman Brady Lash lead the returners, along with pitcher outfielder Vit Wynn, catcher Michael Ream, and outfielder pitcher Gard Swenson. They like the potential of this group.
So we're returning about half of our team, a couple sophomores, a couple juniors, and about 5 seniors of us. But we added about 5 more seniors and a couple more juniors, and we got some other underclassmen that are working their way up, and I think it's going to be a great squad this year.
When the snow clears, Wayzata plans to be ready to win. Jay Wilcox, CCX Sports.
Find more prep sports games and highlights at ccxmedia.org and follow us on social media.